This lecture brought to you in part by PowerRam. Howdy, my name is Mr. Estes. Today we will venture through the depths of some chemistry from the algebraic point of view. Today I'm going to teach you how to express and manipulate or change quantities related to chemistry through mathematical conventions. Basically, we will be learning the proper way to measure and change units to match the desired results. But in doing so, I will try to accommodate different learning styles. To begin, we will start with dimensional analysis. In using dimensional analysis, this is basically just converting units to other units, such as speed to yards. If I ask you how many inches are in 1 yard, your response should be 36. But this is memorization, no? For some, yes. But this is a simple solid example that we will use to teach the basics. Idealistically, you start with what you have, 2 yards. Then you put that over 1 to yield 2 yards over 1, which is pretty much just the same as putting anything over 1, which means it's the same as it started with. So now you have a solid grasp on what's here. Now we need to know what we should turn this into. I say we go to inches. That means we should find out how many inches there are to 1 yard. After looking this up, we see that there are 36 inches in 1 yard. So we place what we want the yard to turn into over 1, i.e. also what it is, 36 inches over 1 yard. Now we multiply these two fractions and cancel out units based on algebraic rules. 2 yards times 36 inches over 1 yard. This leaves us with 72 inches because the yards cancel each other out, and that leaves us with 72 inches over 1, which is really just 72 inches. Simple enough, right? Well, I'm not just here to accommodate the logical mathematical people. So with that, I believe in broadening my horizons, opening myself up to explain this in different learning styles. For those kinesthetic learners, imagine you are grabbing a ruler. Instead of keeping it in yards, you need to turn that ruler into something more precise. So you find out how many inches are in each yard and mark it correctly on the ruler. Try to visualize this scenario as you are working through this problem. Like you are physically manipulating these numbers and place some tangible real meaning to these units. Interpersonal learners, you focus more on people understanding their interactions and problems with one another. Let's pretend that yards are actually goals that people set for themselves that are just too hard to reach in the amount of time they wish to achieve them. So by switching to smaller steps, they can provide a stepping stone for them to reach their goals and achieve their sense of belonging. Next, we will cover scientific notation. Once again, it's math. Now let's see what we have to tackle. We have 6.2 times 10 to the negative third. Already this looks complicated and you probably want to smirk away from it. But you have to find the right angle of attack which is appropriate for your learning style, and I will help you to provide that. From the mathematical way, we obviously see that this is a really small decimal. When you multiply any number by 10, you automatically move the decimal one place to the right. And when you multiply any number by 10 to the negative 1, you should move it one to the left. So extrapolating, looking onward, from that, we should be able to see that with 6.2, you only have to shift the decimal 3 places to the left since we are multiplying by 10 to the negative 3, which will ultimately give you 0.0062. From a kinesthetic point of view, here's a trick I use. This trick never fails. First look at the number above the 10. If it is negative, you'll be moving to the left. If it is positive, you will move it right. Then the number which is actually there, let's say negative 3, then you move it 3 spaces to the left since it's negative. Vice versa if it's positive. Make sure to include how many spaces you filled over and place zeros in the spots that it skipped to fill the blanks between the decimal and the number you moved it down from. Interpersonally, sometimes people hide who they are. We all wear masks to some degree, and that's exactly what these scientific notations can represent. They can either be greater people once you closely inspect them, or they can actually be so close to zero that you would wonder why they look normal in the first place. Follow the same steps as the kinesthetic learners as previously mentioned, but keep this in mind. Maybe you can relate it to someone you knew, have, known, or a fictional character you create in your own head to represent the number. Lastly, today, we will be covering significant figures, or sig figs for short. In the Badlands of sig figs, there are only 3 laws you must follow. If you don't, then you'll find yourself in a heap and bit of trouble. Rule 1. Non-zero numbers are always significant. Rule 2. Zeros between 2 non-zero numbers are considered significant by association. And finally, Rule 3. Trailing zeros are only significant if a decimal point is present. If you follow these simple rules, then you'll find yourself leaving the sig fig Badlands mentally unscathed, and you'll be a whole lot less stressed. Quick example. 0.00609.00030. How many sig figs? Well, 6, 9, and 3 are all significant because they are non-zero numbers, Rule 1. The 0 between 6 and 9 is significant because it is in between the both of them, Rule 2. And lastly, the 0 behind the 3 is significant because it is trailing and the decimal point is present, rule 3. To be honest, I can ramble all day about how you related this to anything and everything, but this is extremely straightforward and only requires time and part from the student to implement, memorization, and execution. Basically, just practice this until it seems natural. There's no magic trick to it until you use your own brain power to utilize your own clearly defined memorization techniques. That is all for today. Thank you for listening, and remember, there's always more than one way to win the war against chemistry. You just have to fight the battle one at a time, and with a lot of work you'll claim that A+ in no time flat.